Shinto, also called kami-no-michi, is a Japanese religion. It focuses on ritual practices to be carried out diligently to establish a connection between present-day Japan and its ancient past. Shinto practices were first recorded and codified in the written historical records of the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki in the 8th century. Still, these earliest Japanese writings do not refer to a unified Shinto religion, but rather to a collection of native beliefs and mythology. Shinto today is a term that applies to the religion of public shrines devoted to the worship of a multitude of gods, suited to various purposes such as war memorials and harvest festivals, and applies as well to various sectarian organizations. Practitioners express the diverse beliefs through a standard language and practice, adopting a similar style in dress and ritual, dating from around the time of the Nara and Eran periods. The word Shinto was adopted originally as Jindo or Shindo from the written Chinese Shendo, combining two kanji, Shin, meaning spirit or kami, and To, meaning a philosophical path or study. The oldest recorded usage of the word Shinto is from the second half of the 6th century. Kami are defined in English as spirits, essences, or gods, referring to the energy generating the phenomena. Since Japanese language does not distinguish between singular and plural, kami refers to the divinity or sacred essence that manifests in multiple forms. Rocks, trees, rivers, animals, places, and even people can be said to possess the nature of kami. Kami and people are not separate, they exist within the same world and share its interrelated complexity. Shinto is the largest religion in Japan, practiced by nearly 80% of the population. Yet only a small percentage of these identify themselves as Shintoists in surveys. This is because Shinto has different meanings in Japan. Most of the Japanese attend Shinto shrines and beseech kami without belonging to an institutional Shinto religion. And since there are no formal rituals to become a member of folk Shinto, Shinto membership is often estimated counting those who join organized Shinto sects. Shinto has 81,000 shrines and 85,000 priests in the country. According to Inoue, in modern scholarship, the term is often used with reference to kami worship and related theologies, rituals and practices. In these contexts, Shinto takes on the meaning of Japan's traditional religion, as opposed to foreign religions such as Christianity, Buddhism, Islam and so forth. Types Shinto religious expressions have been distinguished by scholars into a series of categories. Shrine Shinto. The main tradition of Shinto has always been a part of Japan's history. It consists in taking part in worship practices and events at local shrines. Before the Meiji Restoration, shrines were disorganized institutions usually attached to Buddhist temples. In the Meiji Restoration, they were made independent, systematized institutions. The current successor to the imperial organization system, the Association of Shinto Shrines, oversees about 80,000 shrines nationwide. Imperial household Shinto are the religious rites performed exclusively by the imperial family at the 3 shrines on the imperial grounds, including the ancestral spirits sanctuary and the sanctuary of the kami. Folk Shinto includes the numerous but fragmented folk beliefs in deities and spirits. Practices include divination, spirit possession, and shamanic healing. Some of the practices come from Buddhism, Taoism, or Confucianism, but most come from ancient local traditions. Sect Shinto is a legal designation originally created in the 1890s to separate government-owned shrines from a local organized religious community. communities. These communities originated especially in the Edo period. The basic difference between shrine Shinto and sect Shinto is that sects are a later development and grew self-consciously. They can identify a founder, a formal set of teachings, and even sacred scriptures. Sect Shinto groups are 13, and usually classified under 5 headings: pure Shinto sects, Confucian sects, mountain worship sects, purification sects, and faith healing sects. Ko-Shinto, literally Old Shinto, is a reconstructed Shinto from before the time of Buddhism, today based on Ainu religion and Recoloured practices. It continues the restoration movement begun by Hirata Tsutain. Many other sects and schools can be distinguished. Faction Shinto is a grouping of Japanese new religions developed since the second half of the 20th century that have significantly departed from traditional Shinto and are not always regarded as part of it. Theology and cosmology. Kami-no-michi is defined in English as God, spirit, spiritual essence, all these terms meaning the energy generating a thing. Since the Japanese language does not distinguish between singular and plural, kami refers to the divinity, or sacred essence, that manifests in multiple forms. Rocks, trees, rivers, animals, places, and even people can be said to possess the nature of kami. Kami and people exist within the same world and share its interrelated complexity. Early anthropologists called Shinto animistic, in which animate and inanimate things have spirits or souls that are worshipped. The concept of animism in Shinto is no longer current, however. Shinto gods are collectively called Joyorazu no Kami, an expression literally meaning 8 million kami, but interpreted as meaning myriad, although it can be translated as many kami. There is a phonetic variation, kamu, and a similar word in the Ainu language, kamui. An analogous word is mikoto. Kami refers particularly to the power of phenomena that inspire a sense of wonder and awe in the beholder, testifying to the divinity of such a phenomenon. It is comparable to what Rudolf Otto described as the mysterium tremendum and fascinans. The kami reside in all things, but certain objects and places are designated for the interface of people and kami. Yorashiro, Shintai, shrines, and kamidana. There are natural places considered to have an unusually sacred spirit about them, and are objects of worship. They are frequently mountains, trees, unusual rocks, rivers, waterfalls, and other natural things. In most cases they are on or near a shrine grounds. The shrine is a building in which the kami is enshrined. It is a sacred space, creating a separation from the ordinary world. The kamidana is a household shrine that acts as a substitute for a large shrine on a daily basis. In each case, the object of worship is considered a sacred space inside which the kami spirit actually dwells, being treated with the utmost respect. Kanagara in Shinto, kanagara, meaning the way of the kami, refers to the law of the natural order. It is the sense of the terms michi to way in the terms kami-no-michi or Shinto. Those who understand kanagara know the divine, the human, and how people should live. For this knowledge stems the ethical dimension of Shinto, focusing on sincerity, honesty, and purity. Amenominakanushi. According to the Kojiki, Amenominakanushi is the first kami, and the concept of the source of the universe according to theologies. In mythology he is described as a god who came into being alone, the first of the Zoka Sanshin, and one of the 5 Koto Wamatsu kami. Amenominakanushi has been considered a concept developed under the influence of Chinese thought. With the flourishing of Kokugaku, the concept was studied by scholars. The theologian Hirata Tsutain identified Amenominakanushi as the spirit of the North Star, master of the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. The god was emphasized by the Daikyon in the Meiji period, and worshipped by some Shinto sects. The god manifests manifests in a duality, a male and a female function, respectively kami-no-michi and kami-no-michi. In other mythical accounts, the originating kami is called umashi ashikabihi koji akuna no tokitachi, the latter used in the Nihon Shoki. Creation of Japan. The generation of the Japanese archipelago is expressed mythologically as the action of two gods, Izanagi and Izanami. The interaction of these two principles begets the islands of Japan and a further group of kami. The events are described in the Kojiki as follows. Izanagi no Mikoto and Izanami no Mikoto were called by all the myriad gods and asked to help each other to create a new land which was to become Japan. They were given a spear with which they stirred the water, and when removed, water dripped from the end. An island was created in the great nothingness. They lived on this island and created a palace. Within the palace was large pole. When they wished to bear offspring, they performed a ritual, each rounding a pole, male to the left and female to the right, the female greeting the male first. They had 2 children which turned out badly and they cast them out. They decided that the ritual had been done incorrectly the first time. They repeated the ritual, but according to the correct laws of nature, the male spoke first. They then gave birth to the 8 perfect islands of the Japanese archipelago. After the islands, they gave birth to the other kami. Izanami no Mikoto died in childbirth, however, and Izanagi no Mikoto tried to revive her. His attempts to deny the laws of life and death have bad consequences. In the myth, the birth of the god of fire causes the death of Izanami, who descends into Yomi no Kuni, the netherworld. Izanagi chases her there, but runs away when he finds the dead figure of his spouse. As he returns to the land of the living, Amaterasu is born from his left eye, Tsukiyomi from his right eye, and Susanoo is born from Izanagi's nose. Purity. Impurity. Shinto teaches that certain deeds create a kind of ritual impurity that one should want cleansed for one's own peace of mind and good fortune rather than because impurity is wrong. Wrong deeds are called impurity, which is opposed to purity. Normal days are called day, and festive days are called sunny, or simply good. Those who are killed without being shown gratitude for the sacrifice will hold a grudge and become powerful and evil kami who seek revenge. Additionally, if anyone is injured on the grounds of a shrine, the area must be richly purified. Purification rites called hari are a vital part of Shinto. They are done on a daily, weekly, seasonal, lunar, and annual basis. These rituals are the lifeblood of the practice of Shinto. Such ceremonies have also been adapted to modern life. New buildings made in Japan are frequently blessed by a Shinto priest called Kanushi during the groundbreaking ceremony, and many cars made in Japan have been blessed as part of the assembly process. Moreover, many Japanese businesses built outside Japan have had ceremonies performed by a Shinto priest, with occasionally an annual visitation by the priest to repurify afterlife. It is common for families to participate in ceremonies for children at a shrine, yet have a Buddhist funeral at the time of death. In old Japanese legends, it is often claimed that the dead go to a place called Yomi, a gloomy underground realm with a river separating the living from the dead mentioned in the legend of Izanami and Izanagi. This Yomi very closely resembles the Greek Hades. However, later myths include notions of resurrection and even Elysium-like descriptions such as in the legend of Okuninushi and Susanoo. Shinto tends to hold negative views on death and corpses as a source of pollution called kegare. However, death is also viewed as a path towards apotheosis in Shintoism, as can be evidenced by how legendary individuals become enshrined after death. Perhaps the most famous would be Emperor Yin, who was enshrined as Hashimin, the god of war, after his death. Unlike many religions, one does not need to publicly profess belief in in Shinto to be a believer. Whenever a child is born in Japan, a local Shinto shrine adds the child's name to a list kept at the shrine and declares him or her a family child. After death, the new Jiko becomes a family spirit or family kami. One may choose to have one's name added to another list when moving and then be listed at both places. Names can be added to the list without consent and regardless of the beliefs of the person added to the list. This is not considered an imposition of belief, but a sign of being welcomed by the local kami, with the promise of addition to the pantheon of kami after death. Shrines. The principal worship of kami is done at public shrines or worship at small home shrines called kamidana. The public shrine is a building, a place that functions as a conduit for kami. A number of shrines are also natural places called mori. The most common of the mori are sacred groves of trees, or mountains, or waterfalls. All shrines are open to the public at some times throughout the year, while many of the public shrines are elaborate structures. All are characteristic Japanese architectural styles of different periods depending on their age. Shrines are fronted by a distinctive Japanese gate made of two uprights and two crossbars denoting the separation between common space and sacred space. The torii have 20 styles and matching buildings based on the enshrined kami and lineage. There are a number of symbolic and real barriers that exist between the normal world and the shrine grounds, including statues of protection, gates, fences, ropes, and other delineations of ordinary to sacred space. Usually there will be only one or sometimes two approaches to the shrine for the public, and all will have the torii over the way. In shrine compounds, there are Hiden, a public hall of worship, Hiden, a hall of offerings, and the Honden of the main hall. The innermost precinct of the grounds is the Honden, a worship hall, which is entered only by the high priests or worshippers on certain occasions. The Honden houses the symbol of the enshrined kami. The heart of the shrine is periodic rituals, spiritual events in parishioners' lives, and festivals. All of this is organized by priests who are both spiritual conduits and administrators. Shrines are private institutions, and are supported financially by the congregation and visitors. Some shrines may have festivals that attract hundreds of thousands, especially in the New Year season. Notable shrines of the 80,000 Shinto shrines. Atsuta Shrine, Nagoya Shrine to the Imperial Sword Kusanagi. Chichibu Shrine, Saitama Prefecture, dedicated to Omoakane and Amenominaka Kanushio Kami. Eiran Jingu, Kyoto, dedicated to Emperor Kamu and Emperor Kome. Hikawa Shrine, Omiyaku, Saitama. Hokkaido Shrine, Sapporo, Hokkaido. The Eyes Jingu, Eyes-me, dedicated to Amaterasu Omokami, also called Jingu. The Gasan Hongu Yamagata, dedicated to Tsukuyomi Okami. Itsukashima Shrine, Hiroshima Prefecture, a World Heritage Site and one of the national treasures of Japan. Iwashimizu Shrine, Iwata, Kyoto. Izumo Taisha, Izumo. Kashiga Shrine, Nara. Katori Shrine, Chiba Prefecture, dedicated to Futsunushi. Kumano Shrines, Wakayama Prefecture. Meiji Shrine, Tokyo, the shrine of Emperor Meiji. Nikko Toshogu, Nikko, Tochigi Prefecture. Osaki Hashiman Shrine, Miyagi Prefecture. Sendai Toshogu, Sendai, Miyagi Prefecture. Shiogama Shrine, Miyagi Prefecture. 3 Palace Sanctuaries, Kokyo Imperial Palace, Tokyo. Tsurugaoka Hoshiman Shrine, Kamakura, Kanagawa. USA Hoshiman Shrine, Oita Prefecture, dedicated to Shimano Makoto. Yasukuni Shrine, a shrine dedicated to Japan's war dead.